Australia today has some of the deadliest animals on Earth. But 50,000 years ago, even the herbivores could kill you in seconds. We're talking about 20-foot land crocodiles with blade-like teeth, monitor lizards heavier than polar bears, and marsupial lions with the strongest bite pound for pound of any mammal ever recorded. Fossil evidence from Queensland reveals something terrifying. These weren't just big animals. They were precision killing machines that dominated an entire continent for millions of years. Paleontologists assumed early humans arrived in Australia and found a challenging but manageable environment. Then a 2019 study changed everything. The first Australians didn't just face dangerous wildlife. They walked into a nightmare ecosystem where reptiles ruled the food chain and mammals evolved into something unrecognizable. Let's start with the creature that still haunts paleontologists. Quinkana was a land crocodile, not a crocodile-like reptile. An actual crocodilian that ran comfortably on land with its body held clear off the ground. Most adults measured 3 meters or 10 feet and weighed 200 kilograms or 440 pounds, equivalent to a medium-sized American alligator. Not to worry though. Larger individuals reached 6 meters or 20 feet in length. The skull structure tells you everything you need to know about how this animal hunted. Quinkana had xiphidont teeth, the same blade-like serrated design seen in Tyrannosaurus rex and Allosaurus. Each tooth was laterally compressed and heavily serrated, designed to slice through flesh like a fillet knife through butter. Unfortunately for prey, these teeth weren't just for show. Bite mark analysis on fossilized bones reveals Quinkana could tear through muscle and sinew in single bites, taking down animals considerably larger than itself. You couldn't even escape by jumping in the water. Fossil evidence suggests Quinkana was an accomplished swimmer despite spending most of its life on land. Its tail structure shows adaptations for both terrestrial sprinting and aquatic propulsion. So this crocodile could chase you on land, then follow you into the water if you tried to escape. Talk about evolutionary overkill. But here's what makes it worse. Quinkana wasn't even the apex predator. That title belonged to something that still defies belief. Megalania, also known as Varanus priscus, was the largest terrestrial lizard ever recorded. Paleontologists never agree on exact measurements, but even conservative estimates give it a length of 3.5 meters or 11 feet with a weight of 158 kilograms or 348 pounds. That's as long as a sea lion and as heavy as a reindeer. Shockingly, those are the minimum estimates. Studies based on fragmented remains suggest Megalania potentially reached lengths of 7.9 meters or 26 feet. At maximum size, this monitor lizard weighed 2 tons, making it 8.5 times heavier than the longest recorded anaconda, but with a robust muscular build designed for active predation. In case you needed more proof this thing was unstoppable, it possessed razor-sharp recurved teeth up to 15 centimeters or 6 inches long, perfect for gripping struggling prey. Megalania used tremendously powerful legs and sharp claws to bring down prey and defend territory. Modern Komodo dragons, its closest living relatives, have been recorded taking down water buffalo. Scale that up to an animal 3 times larger with proportionally stronger limbs, and you're looking at something that could kill essentially anything it encountered. Unfortunately for every other animal in Australia, there's more bad news. Like all modern monitor lizards, Megalania was likely venomous. Not just toxic saliva. Actual venom glands that produced anticoagulant compounds similar to snake venom. This venom prevents blood from clotting, which leads to shock, infection, and eventually death even if the prey escapes the initial attack. Komodo dragons use a bite-and-retreat hunting strategy, letting venom do the work while they track wounded prey for hours or days. Then a 2009 study from the University of Melbourne proved Megalania had the same skull structure and probable venom delivery system. So even if you survived an encounter with this 2-ton venomous lizard, you were still doomed. The venom would keep your wounds open, leading to blood loss and septic shock. Megalania didn't need to catch you, it just needed to bite you once. You couldn't even hide from the next nightmare. Wonambi was an extinct genus of giant constrictor snake that belonged to the Matsoidae family, a group of primitive snakes with inflexible jaws. Large specimens reached 6 meters or 20 feet in length, equivalent to a massive Burmese python. But unlike modern constrictors that swallow prey whole, Wonambi's rigid jaw structure meant it couldn't unhinge its mouth. Not to worry though, evolution found a solution. Wonambi would use its powerful coils to squeeze prey until blood couldn't reach the brain or heart, causing rapid unconsciousness and death. Then comes the disturbing part. Unable to swallow prey whole, Wonambi would use its sharp teeth and muscular body to tear chunks off carcasses, sometimes disemboweling animals while constricting them. Fossil evidence from Narakorte caves shows Wonambi inhabited areas near water sources, using ambush tactics to strike unsuspecting prey. Shockingly, one study of modern indigenous populations found that constrictor snake attacks remain a significant cause of death even today. Scale that threat up to a 20-foot serpent with a fundamentally different feeding strategy, and you realize why early Australians developed such detailed snake avoidance traditions. This wasn't paranoia, it was survival necessity. But here's what really keeps paleontologists up at night. The mammals were just as terrifying as the reptiles. Thylacoleo carnifex, the marsupial lion, was the largest mammalian predator in Australian history. Average specimens matched the size of a European wild boar, while the largest individuals reached the size of female lions and tigers. Unfortunately for prey, Thylacoleo shared more than just size with big cats. This marsupial had the strongest bite pound for pound of any known mammal. A medium-sized Thylacoleo could bite with the same force as a lion 2.5 times its size. Researchers estimate this marsupial regularly took down prey 15 times heavier than itself. The skull design explains how. Instead of typical mammalian canines, Thylacoleo had enormous incisors that functioned like elongated fangs, paired with blade-like premolars that acted as biological shears. In case you needed more proof this animal was overpowered, bite mark studies reveal Thylacoleo killed large prey in under 60 seconds by simultaneously piercing deep into flesh with its incisors while severing the windpipe, spinal cord, and major arteries with its premolars. The same killing technique takes African lions 15 minutes or more because their teeth aren't as specialized. Thylacoleo evolved the most efficient mammalian killing method ever recorded. You couldn't even climb to safety. Each front foot had a single large retractable claw attached to semi-opposable thumbs. Fossil evidence suggests Thylacoleo was an accomplished climber who possibly dragged kills up trees like modern leopards. Cave paintings and track marks show this marsupial navigating rough terrain and vertical surfaces with ease. So it could chase you on the ground, follow you up trees, and kill you faster than any modern predator. Then a 2018 study from Flinders University proved something even more unsettling. Thylacoleo had a smaller brain than expected for its body size, but this wasn't a disadvantage. The reduced brain size allowed space for extremely dense jaw muscles and wide, sturdy cranial bones. This marsupial literally sacrificed cognitive capacity to maximize killing power. Talk about evolutionary specialization. But herbivores didn't just accept being prey. Diprotodon was an extinct marsupial whose closest living relative is the wombat. Except this wombat weighed up to 3.85 tons, equivalent to a fully grown Asian elephant. Fossil sites across Australia contain Diprotodon remains with Thylacoleo bite marks, suggesting these two megafauna regularly interacted. Shockingly, many Diprotodon bones show healed injuries, meaning they survived attacks. The reason becomes clear when you examine the skull. Diprotodon was strictly vegetarian, but it possessed a bite force reaching 11,000 newtons at the back molars. That's more than enough power to shatter a human femur in a single bite. Size alone made Diprotodon nearly invulnerable to most predators. Add in a bone-crushing bite and thick hide, and you understand why even Megalania might think twice before attacking a healthy adult. Unfortunately for anything smaller, there were also the birds. Genyornis was a flightless bird that belonged to the Dromornithidae family, also called thunderbirds. Adults regularly grew taller than humans, averaging 2 meters or 6.5 feet in height. The robust skeletal structure gave Genyornis durability and weight, resulting in adults weighing 250 kilograms or 550 pounds, equivalent to a quarter ton. Despite their menacing appearance, Genyornis were herbivores. Not to worry though. They had giant, robust beaks and sharp claws perfectly capable of warding off predators that got too close. Fossil evidence from Lake Calabana shows Genyornis traveled in groups, suggesting social defense strategies. A charging 550-pound bird with a beak strong enough to crush bone was something even Thylacoleo would avoid. But here's what makes prehistoric Australia truly nightmarish. Every dangerous animal in modern Australia was also present 50,000 years ago. We're talking saltwater crocodiles, great white sharks, venomous snakes, deadly spiders, and lethal jellyfish. So early humans had to deal with all of today's threats, plus land crocodiles, giant venomous lizards, constrictor snakes, marsupial lions, elephant-sized wombats, and massive flightless birds. Then there were the environmental challenges. Australia 50,000 years ago experienced extreme droughts, shifting climates, and unpredictable resources. Fossil evidence from multiple sites reveals many megafauna died near dried-up water sources, suggesting severe water stress. Not to mention other extinct animals I haven't covered, including giant turtles, additional crocodilian species like Paleo, and various extinct kangaroos with different adaptations. And yet, humans survived. In fact, they thrived. Archaeological evidence shows early Australians not only coexisted with these megafauna, but actively hunted them. Butchered Diprotodon bones with stone tool marks prove humans preyed on elephant-sized marsupials. Thylacoleo remains found with burned bones suggest humans used fire to drive these predators away or possibly hunted them directly. A 2017 study analyzing megafauna extinction patterns revealed something fascinating. Most Australian megafauna disappeared within a few thousand years of human arrival. Not all at once like an asteroid impact would cause. Gradually, as human populations expanded and hunting pressure increased. Some scientists argue climate change played a role, but the correlation between human arrival and extinction is undeniable. So what does this tell us? Prehistoric Australia was objectively deadlier than anywhere else on Earth at that time. Reptilian predators ruled the food chain. Mammals evolved into specialized killing machines. Even herbivores developed weapons capable of inflicting fatal damage. Every ecosystem contained multiple apex predators competing for resources. And when humans arrived, they didn't just adapt, they dominated. They hunted animals 10 times their size. They survived attacks from predators with the strongest bites ever recorded. They navigated an environment where reptiles, mammals, and birds all posed lethal threats. Archaeological evidence suggests early Australians developed sophisticated hunting strategies, social cooperation, and environmental knowledge that allowed them to outcompete every other predator on the continent. That's the reality of prehistoric Australia. It wasn't the animals that were most dangerous. It was the small bipedal apes with stone tools and fire who walked into a nightmare ecosystem and decided they were in charge now. The megafauna didn't stand a chance.